Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I was on here. And I don't know if all of you caught it, but I did put a message out that basically let everyone know that I had been sick, and that made it basically impossible to record because I had a cough and a lot of congestion. My voice just wasn't going to last. But then on top of that, it also happened to be kind of a lead up to, like, I have some projects each year at my day job that are timed to the beginning of the fiscal year, and for my company, the fiscal year resets on February 1st. And so it has been, the busiest week for me so far in a year, and next week is probably going to be even busier. And I had to work while sick from the house because I'm the only one who has the skill set and the preparation to get these projects done. Now, fortunately, I was able to do that. I was quite sick, but I was able to sit up and work, and in some ways that kind of made things better because then I wasn't just laying on a bed. But at the same time, it was also highly frustrating because you're tired and you kind of have to stay up and keep going, but we made it through. Now, that said, for many years, a lot of you have been saying, Heir, when are you going to stop being the heir and become the king? Well, I guess I am the king now. I'm the king of the dead, though, rather than being the king of Carthage. So if I was promoted, I think I just became, the king of the dead. Well, I mean, I say that. I think there's a Total War player who calls himself king of the dead, so I can't take that either. So maybe I'm just dead. So yeah, here we are. I'm back. I'm so excited to be back. Folks, I miss making content. I miss having, like, the standard stuff here. I'm honestly, like, if I speak my mind, and I'm going to do so while we get things started here, I'm a little depressed at the state of Total War. I am, and I don't know, maybe I'm just misreading the room. Maybe the crowd isn't actually all that depressed about Total War, but I feel like they are. And it kind of has me down too, because I hate seeing the state of things this way, right? It's frustrating. I would love to see some excitement come back into Total War. And honestly, like, I realize, though, when thinking about it, it's not just Total War for me. Like, my excitement for Halo is gone. My excitement for basically anything PC gaming has been gone recently. I don't know why that is. I think it's probably just because of the string of games that have been kind of either disappointing us with releases or just haven't appealed to me. Now, this may not be the case for you, because there may be games out right now that you are super excited about and having a lot of fun with, and I hope that's the case. But for me, I'm just not in that boat. Like, I'm just not feeling the PC gaming excitement right now. And the next thing on my radar that could get me excited, and I say could because it really depends on how well it launches, is going to be Homeworld 3. And I do intend to cover that game in a lot of detail. I'm very much looking forward to it. So now, does that mean that I don't want to be covering Total War right now? No, it doesn't mean that. I've always loved the Total War games, and Total War Warhammer 3 to me is a game that's easy to be fun, even though I've played it a lot, because it has so much content, and then the Warhammer universe is a lot of fun. But, with that kind of background of what's coming that's really exciting, what's coming that's really going to change it or make it the next big thing, like, without that there, it feels like it's killed a small piece of it for me, like killed some of the excitement. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you all are thinking right now in regards to Total War. Like, where are you at with your enthusiasm around Total War? Are you enthusiastic? Are you unenthusiastic? Did you quit? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just curious, like, what the state of mind is for others. But for me, it has certainly been the lowest point that it's ever been since I started recording videos many, many years ago. And I mean many years ago. There's a lot of cool units we could get there. I wonder if we could get lucky and maybe, like, grab a Luminarch somewhere, because that would be hilarious. Wissenberg, Putrid Stump, Koppelberg. I have to admit, this is now the second, well, I played some off-screen, so I think it's the third campaign I've played on this Old World mod. And by the way, the Old World mod got updated recently, and there was a lot added to it. I want to say it was in, like, the north and the... oh, crap, I can't remember the other place. Anyway, it got updated. I think Great Book of Grudges covered it on his channel. So it had some cool updates. This mod is really neat. the game becomes, in my opinion, quite a bit different than the vanilla game, even when you consider the fact that I'm using the same lords and unit rosters and stuff. And the reason I say that is because the distance between settlements is a little greater. The map is so much more expansive that it kind of changes the way you play the game, and it also changes which factions are running away and, you know, taking over with things. And I've had interesting experiences with it. Whenever I played as Grombrindle, it was one of the hardest campaigns I've ever played because we just ended up completely surrounded by chaos. There was no one around to help. And I fought for probably 200 turns, and finally was able to get, you know, close enough to an ally in Kislev where they could start to help me shore up a flank. But I mean, it was a brutal slog. And then, you know, we played the Tomb King one, which ended up being interesting. And then we've played this one. And so it is a different feel. So I do like the sometimes a little bit quicker gameplay of the standard Immortal Empires map. But then in a lot of ways I have enjoyed. I would say this one being a little bit slower and longer development type gameplay. So I appreciate both, I think. I've seen some of both that I really enjoyed. But I don't know if you all have played... Ah, they sieged me here just so that I couldn't replenish. How irritating. Yeah, that is irritating. So we're going to have to beat them there again. And we're going to have to beat these guys again. We're going to force them all the way back to Skullcrag. I'm going to go ahead and attack them here. We'll go ahead and fight this. It's going to be an easy win. But, yeah. So I don't know. I would love to see some enthusiasm rekindled for Total War, but like right now they don't have a community program, so I'm not getting any announcements about things that are coming up. I have no idea what's coming up, other than what you will see in the news, the same stuff. And I mean, like I said, we're late into the development phase of Warhammer 3, and it's not been what it should have been. It's kind of been a debacle, honestly, ever since it launched. So I don't know. I would like to see some enthusiasm brought back, but you know, maybe I'm open to the idea that maybe that's my problem, right? Maybe the reason there's not much enthusiasm is just me, and maybe I need to be more enthusiastic. Maybe I've taken the wrong mindset. I don't know. But like I said, curious to see where you all stand. Let's get our troops deployed. We definitely have some pretty significant advantages, like in our Bugmans. Now, I could deploy in a much tighter, more defensive formation, but there's just no need. The enemy troops here are weak. I mean, just weak. There's nothing here that is a significant threat to me. So I don't see a need. These guys are going to deploy behind me, and I could turn and just kind of blast them when they come onto the screen, but again, those reinforcements are so weak that I'm not even sure they could cut through my rangers. So I think what I'm going to do, actually, is just kind of deploy like this, and I'll put my Master Engineer, I'll put him kind of up front, and I'll put the Runesmith and the Thanes back here to help protect the rear of my formation. We do have the single artillery piece that we have to protect here. This is actually a little bit annoying, the way that they've deployed here. I think I'm going to redeploy like to maybe like right here. And then we'll do this. Alright. I think that'll be good enough for what we need to accomplish here. I am going to go looking for some shots. Let's start the deployments. I need to get a defensive stance on my missile units, which we have now done. And I'm going to begin targeting Helman Gorst with my engineer. And I'm just going to let my grudge thrower kind of target. It's just zombie units up here, so there's very little targets of value in the vicinity. And I'm going to start trying to pop some shots here, and I don't want the vampires to sit here on the hill waiting for the reinforcements. So I'm going to make them feel pain. and see if we can go ahead and just get them to attack us. Let's see. Trying to increase my damage output, though I haven't seen a single shot be fired in the direction of Helm and Gorst, and now he stepped just outside of my range. You gonna actually fire, dude? Get such weird line of sight on gun units, can't pretend to explain. I'm just gonna start shooting zombies, like maybe he'll actually shoot. He won't shoot at Gorst right now. There we go. It's a giant blob over here. If I can get my catapult to land a shot in the middle of it, that'd be really quite genius. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to target Helm and Gorst. We definitely have their attention. Their reinforcements are about to come on, so I think what I'm going to do is kind of reposition a bit here. Something like this. Alright, there we go. How have we not managed to land? Well, I guess we've landed some shots on Helm and Gorst, but very little. There we go. Tagged him with another one. I think he's just got a lot of hit points, maybe. So there's the reinforcements. I'll be able to hold them back with the somewhat modest force that I have back there. And then my Bugmans are going to really make this infantry formation look pretty silly. Alright. Yeah, there's no cairn wraiths in that main formation. Speaking of, let's go ahead and shift to meet these guys, because they are shifting a little harder to that flank over there. And let's get our hammers involved. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and shift there. I'm gonna go ahead and shred through that real quick. There we go. And then my Bugmans need to reposition a little. Actually going to take these, and I'm going to target up here. I'm going to send this help. Kill Helm and Gorst. Awesome. Well, we are doing quite well here. My hammers ought to be getting tremendous numbers of kills, because we're just talking about, you know, sorry, low-tier undead troops here. But it does take a minute to get the kills on those kind of units, because they do have a lot of hit points at a minimum. I didn't think that's what I told you to target. I think that I told you to target up there. Let's bring these Ranger Great Weapons over here to reinforce this fight so we don't... Those Bugmans are starting to stabilize pretty well, though. I'm gonna get all these. There we go. And Helm and Gorst is getting a face full. Ready to serve. Send some reinforcements up. There goes Gorst. My Slayers are, you know, taking some damage through this process, but I don't think that we're in any kind of desperation situation here. Oh, whoops. I thought I was in that fight. My bad. My bad. Well, I have been out of the saddle for a little while here, so give me a little bit of leeway. Well, the vampire trash stack did not fare well, and I can't say that I'm shocked. I am shocked, though, that it hasn't, like, self-immolated yet. They are completely and utterly overwhelmed with absolutely no prayer of hanging in this fight. Okay. So there we go. That's going to be a good victory for us. We'll take a look at the stats on the way out the door. Slayers are getting a lot of kill because of the low armor. Wow, those Rangers picked up quite a few quick kills there too. Not surprised the Grudge Thrower ended up with the most. Hammerers always disappoint me. They have a bonus versus large, and that was zombies. I don't know if it's just because the zombies like will crumble and die maybe sometimes before the Hammerers lay a hit on them. I don't know what the deal is, but I would have expected so many more kills than that for the amount of time that they were in that fight with that bonus versus infantry that they possess. But maybe I'm just misunderstanding exactly how that ends, how that fight, you know, pans out in terms of hit points and whatnot. But I mean, it's not like they performed poor. It's just that I guess I just expect a whole lot more out of them. We're going to auto-resolve, take over this territory. It's going to allow that army to replenish, and we have claimed the southern World's Edge Mountains. I don't know whether we'd be able to go underground over towards Deadgate. I'm kind of hoping that we will. There's a lot of vampire characters here, which are still going to be causing a lot of vampiric attrition kind of behind my lines. But I am working on the beer tags, which should spread control. And then we really need probably a Slayer building here somewhere in order to really get better, what do you call it, corruption reduction. Okay, so this army here is going to have to fight its way out of here. We're a little bit beat up, but there's no way the vampires, yeah. They want to kill off some of my units, though, in this auto-resolve, which I cannot allow. So I am going to go ahead and fight this one, so that we don't lose those units and have to re-recruit via global, because that's not in my cards at the moment. Plus, I would like someone to explain to me which units in the vampire army are going to be killing these triple silver chevron Longbeard units. So if they want to go ahead and explain that one, I'm open to explanations, but I can't say that I see the same danger that they are projecting on me. I'm going to do a very simple kind of setup here with... I'm going to actually start the guns... Well, no, I'm going to do a little bit. Yeah, this is going to be so easy. Like, I don't even know what the world the auto-resolve was trying to project here. But this is going to be a loss, like a super straightforward loss for our enemies. Okay. Okay.
Thunderers! They have wronged us!
Okay, I'm well within range. Okay. Yeah, this will work. We're just gonna sit here and blast them. So, not exactly a difficult strategy to put together here. Might go do a little baiting with the gyro bomber, and then as far as the cannon goes, I'm gonna target the Vargulf. Yeah, there we go. We got a good hit on the Vargulf right there. They're gonna want to wait on the reinforcements. I'm going to make that wait costly. And there goes our Vargulf. Let's give the Vampire Master Necromancer a shot here. It looks like he took a shot back at our gyrocopter because he's... It's kind of about all we can do is take a frustration shot at us there. The Terrorgeist is probably a bit easier to hit type target. But the Necromancer is higher priority. And now he's playing the dodgy game. Terrorgeist is healing. I probably should have targeted that. But if we take out that Necromancer... Ooh, boy, he put another magic missile on me. That magic missile hurts. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but... Oh, he didn't dodge that one. I'm going to go ahead and target the Vargeist over here. That's a unit that will immediately dive into my back lines and cause issues for me. I'm going to loosen this formation just a little with the intent of being able to give my crossbows a little breathing room, essentially. Meaning, like, I'm going to give them protection against, like, kind of a punch through the main line. It looks like the Vargeist ran away outside of range, so that was anticlimactic. No, here they come. I don't know how we haven't killed one unless the cannon just hasn't fired. They're relatively easy targets. There we go. Saw the... There we go. That's kind of what I was expecting. So we did drop a Vargeist that time. They have a black coach and a corpse cart. And the Terrorgeist is rolling up from my flank. Okay, well, we can deal with said Terrorgeist. Alright. I'm moving to... Why? Why did the cannons move forward? Because I didn't have them on... Ugh. Now my cannons have to move and can't fire right now. That's frustrating. I didn't have them on defensive stance, so let's take care of that. Alright, now they're into a defensive stance. Group 1 into a defensive stance. Okay. That Terrorgeist is sitting just outside of my range. Here comes the black coach and the Terrorgeist. Okay, I'm going to Ruin of Slowness the Terrorgeist. And open fire. And organ guns are slicing through a Graveguard Great Weapon. I'm going to target the corpse cart. They did take their bats and go straight for my second line. I am not in the least bit shocked. Nor surprised.
Move to attack!
Alright, the Terrorgeist is about to be done. Okay, I'm now going to target the next flying unit with my guns. The flying units are particularly vulnerable to the guns. So that is the Master Necromancer. He'll probably come try and land, if I had to take a guess. Their bats into my crossbows failed miserably, and now I'm going to target the black coach. Their lord just went down.
For the ancestor gods!
And that's going to be the end of the corpse cart here any moment.
No! Take him!
And I'm going to try and get rid of that black coach. I'm going to swing around over here as well. Let's toss a couple extras in there. I have some warriors that were wavering there because of the terror on the can wraiths. I wonder, is there some reason, like, how these units aren't crumbling? Someone want to lay that logic down on me? Like the vampires and what leadership here? And I'm going to start putting some shots into here. I'm actually going to pull this long beard back. There we go. And crumble time. So the vampire ascendancy is yet to be very ascendant. because they lack the troops necessary. Boy, that organ gun, when it gets a hold of an infantry column, boy, it does some work. It does it in a hurry, too. So, I like organ guns and flame cannons both. They're both very interesting pieces of artillery in the sense that the organ gun is actually decent against single entity targets as well. I think it's kind of a jack of all trades, with its downside being its reduced range. But then the flame cannon, of course, is your anti-infantry specialist, and I think you get the satisfaction of seeing it burn up, but it also has the slower shots, and it's less flexible. So if I was going for like pure utility, organ guns, I think are the great backup to cannons. So cannons provide the range and the damage against large, and then the organ guns provide the teeth whenever the battle pulls closer, in terms of like the distance closes. But, you know, flame cannons, still very fun and very fun to use. They're just a little more tricky to use, I think. We firepower, so what do we do? Fire and fury. So that is just iron drakes and flame cannons. I don't know why I put a skill point on that, to be honest. This is the one that we want to skill up here. And let's take our runesmith and let's drop that into damping. We've got a lot of skill points here. Put that into Moonmaker.
True King.
True King. Why don't you hang on? There can only, how many True Kings we got around here? Just out of curiosity.
Revenge incarnate.
Now, see, there we go. That makes more sense. Not everybody can be the True King. Okay, let's see here. Guess I'll just drop it into specialist. I don't really have a whole lot of other places to put it. And then we got a Thane with some points. Let's go to Foe Seeker, Woundmaker. Well, let's go Foe Seeker, Scarred Veteran. I don't think there's a huge difference if you do Scarred Veteran or Woundmaker first, but I do like them as far as skill points go. I think they're both very useful. Okay, so skill points have been taken care of, at least for the moment. The Caravan of Blue Roses is on its last legs, as expected. There's really nowhere for them to go, and I didn't really expect them to accomplish much. And that's going to leave the attack basically ready here on the next turn for us to start cutting into... where are all of my armies? Let's see, I've got one right here in front of the vampires, another here. I've got two to the north. And then where we got Brock here. So they've got the vampires backed up over here. I was kind of hoping that the vampires might come and knock the Wood Elves out of their little hidey hole there, but there's really still just not a good opening for me to take here. For some reason, I still can't do anything with that faction? Huh. Well, I probably have a military access agreement with Balthasar. I do. If I leave these settlements undefended, can they hold? Not really. No, not really. So I'd prefer not to leave these undefended at the moment. We do have Thorak still.
Drink, then we talk.
But he's not interested in the Confederation because he's fairly strong. I would love to confederate Thorak and be able to get those crossbow buffs. They are stupid fun. I guess that we'll just start working on some buildings here with our leftover cash spend, because we do have a considerable amount of money to spend. And there are good places to be spending it. Okay, let's issue our commandment. We want to reduce corruption there and end our turn. I don't don't know why I like dwarf campaigns so much, but I do. Kislev became, I think, one of my favorite in terms of new factions, and that's saying something because Cathay is also really good. And then some people might be like, well, Eric, what about the demon factions? I'm just not that into chaos. Like, it's never done it for me. Now, it doesn't mean that chaos is bad or should be removed from the game, but I'm just saying, like, the chaos factions just don't do it for me. Like, from an excitement, from an aesthetic, like, it's just not happening. Like, there's no attraction there, so, so for me, I've never been that excited about the demon factions. Now, that doesn't mean they're not fun. Like, the speed, for instance, of Slaanesh is kind of fun to tinker with. Like, they're very fast-paced. But I find all of the monogod factions to be very much one-trick ponies that are very lame over a long game because they just don't really have that many exciting options. Now, if you're looking to just punch someone in the face repeatedly, I mean, Khorne is pretty good at that, and there's at least a couple of fairly entertaining units, like with the Khorne Mower and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, the demon factions are kind of boring, and Nurgle to me is the most boring of all. Which, I don't know whether it concerns me that there's a DLC coming up for Nurgle, because I'm worried that means that the DLC might be extremely boring and unappetizing for people at a moment when it really doesn't need to be. Or maybe that'll be good, because maybe now Nurgle will be fun, and like maybe CA would give me a reason to play as those disgusting pus bags. I don't know. One can be hopeful, I think. Hopeful, but we'll see what happens. So I'm not sure what to think. But I mean, I'm generally speaking always excited for new content in my Total War games. So I am excited that it's going to touch the dwarves, and there's certainly some things that they could use. I know a lot of people would love to see them get a massive overhaul. Maybe they will. I don't know, because CA is in a position where they've got to really provide something big and meaningful. But I doubt it. Like, I think they're going to get tweaked, and honestly, that's fine. I think if you make the Great Book of Grudges into something that's actually fun instead of a chore, that solves one of the big issues for the dwarf faction, in my opinion, among many. Okay, let's see. I am going to attack the Tomb Kings on the next turn. Yeah, so I'm going to attack Archon on the very next turn. So we should be good. Lord not moved. Yep, understood. Okay, there we go. So we are going to end our turn on that, and yeah, so I don't know. As far as other games coming up this year, I haven't really been paying attention, but I kind of like, I want some new strategy games. And it's not because I don't like Total War anymore, but I'd love to see some new stuff hit the market. Like, I mean, would there be anything wrong with having multiple fun strategy games out there? I don't think so. And I'm open to different kinds of strategy games too. Now, my favorite kind of strategy games are going to be real-time strategy, and then also stuff like Total War. However, I'm not as into them, but like grand strategy stuff, kind of like Paradox, it depends on the game. I find those to be pretty fun. So like, for instance, the Star Trek Infinite was an interesting one for me because I love Star Trek, and then it kind of mixed with Stellaris. But I may just have to go play Stellaris because I don't think Star Trek Infinite's going to get any more attention. In fact, I think their studio had some layoffs, which is sad that you take the time to release that Star Trek game and then not use that IP worth a flip. But that's my point, though, right? Is that there needs to be something out there, like something fun. So I don't know. I'm hoping that people can deliver. I feel like strategy is a genre that kind of hasn't done well in a while, and I don't really know why. Like, I think it's potentially a very popular genre. I mean, you can look at the Age of Empires series, for instance, and it's still popular after, I mean, decades. And honestly, Age of Empires is one of the few that I would point to of having done a pretty darn good job managing their IP. whereas a lot of folks have kind of wasted it and thrown it away. Now, to me, Age of Empires 4 was not a very exciting release, like in the sense that I just don't find Age of Empires 4 fun. Like, I don't, the gameplay is not that fun or exciting to me. It's not awful, but it just didn't appeal to me. I think it appealed to mostly more of a hardcore RTS fan base, which, fair enough, I mean, target the base you want to. But at the same time, like, the thing that I do like about the Age of Empires franchise right now is the game that I was really into, which was Age of Empires 3, also still gets updated, you know, and has that definitive edition that's super fun to play. And so, you know, Age of Empires 4 didn't have to be my jam. You know, and then Age of Empires 2 and 1 still out there, all those taken care of. So, I don't know. They're waiting on the reinforcements, but it's weird because they like walked up into that corner. It actually ends up being a pretty good move for them because I can't artillery bombard them at the moment. It is odd though, because you did attack me, right? And if you have to wait in a corner for your reinforcements, perhaps you weren't really strong enough to be leading the attack. I don't know, just a thought. What is this power bar, by the way? Yes, I understand their numbers are high, but like what? But what is that? Like power bar? That's not a thing.
For the ancestors.
Ouch. There's gonna be plenty more ouch where that came from.
Dwarf warriors. Strike out.
Plenty more ouch where that came from.
War of vengeance.
Bye-bye. Alright, here comes the...
For the cutter's anchor. Move now.
Alright. Oh my gosh, that Vargulf. Poor puppy just... I mean, he took a face full right there. Yikes. Yeah, that's rough. Let's go ahead and put some hurt on those Vargeist and then that Terrorgeist. Woo! Guns are super effective against flying units. I don't find that I find them difficult to use against a lot of other units because of the weird line of sight and the terrain and everything else that comes into play. But oh my gosh, they are just gruesome against flyers. And I'm a big fan of them in that regard, like because the flyers don't have anywhere to hide, and neither does their armor. Like it cuts right through it. So I'm gonna start putting some hurt there. They are gonna try and outflank me on this side, so let's turn over here and do that. Alright, so I am going to turn the attention of my guns to the Ghoul King. And in my typical vampire tactics, I'm going to target their leadership and their units that are critical to binding. Awesome, so that's going to be the Terrorgeist out for the count. I'm actually gonna push these Thunderers up and try and get a volley off over here. The Thunderers have been really good so far in this fight. I'm actually gonna turn my cannon onto that corpse cart instead. Let's put some shots into that Vampire Lord if we can hit him. Again, the terrain may not... Yep, it did allow. Put some more shots into him while we slow him. Okay, so that's going to be another Vampire Leader that out for the count. Alright, so Strigoi is out.
Barracks ready!
And let's see if we can find...
Oh, dead I'll get 'em!
target those.
For the ancestors!
Yeah, the corpse cart's being forced to keep its distance. And then the remaining vampire units are getting bloodied and bruised at the hands of my troops here. They have one lord who's hanging out in the very back of the map, out of a complete showing of like schoolgirl levels of fear here.
We will have vengeance! Axes out! Hit those dwarven legs! Put those dwarven legs! Attack the Urks! Shout! Nothing can stop us! I speak my lord's will!
Okay,
For the ancestor gods!
got my
For
guns
the ancestors!
involved in the fight. I'm gonna
Adu!
move over here and bomb some of these vampires in this fight. And let's drop a bomb there.
Vengeance!
Let's turn my organ gun to their last leader.
Born of vengeance!
And there we go.
Let us bleed for the clan!
And then I'm gonna pour gunfire into these units that are around my single entity hero,
Obey me!
because they won't be body blocked.
To the forge! The runes are cast!
Let's drop another bomb there. Head out here and drop some bombs too.
For the
Need to
High King!
oops. Need to reposition a little bit over here.
Now!
Get my thunders back into that fight.
Warriors! Take them
I think
down!
it's just numbers that's keeping the vampires in the fight for the moment. And well, that last leader actually is probably
Warriors!
playing a role as well, but it's not going to last for long.
Thunderous!
Move these thunders around and then I'll have a flank shot.
Come on!
Their lord is now taking big hits.
Yes!
There we go. So once again, the vampires utterly shut down, as one would expect. And, boy, that should do it for this episode. I think that's going to leave us in a great spot. I mean, we absolutely decimated the Caravan of Blue Roses during this one. They didn't ever even get close, and nor would I expect them to. I picked these armies. This one was actually picked to be a little more effective, I think, against the Chaos Dwarves, but it still ends up being quite effective against the vampires because the Longbeards are basically immune to they are immune to psychology, which is a critical feature for the vampires, is being able to, you know, kind of influence a quick rout. Your forces can sometimes get in a grind out fight, but not with dwarves of that caliber. Like, I think there are certain factions where a grind out fight might favor you as the vampires, where you can really bury them in numbers, but that's not going to be the case with the heavily armored and psychologically resistant dwarf faction. Wow, look at all this. Woo! Lots of vampire factions going the way of the world here. Factions destroyed, yeah, 3 vampire factions, all having gone the way of the dodo there. And then this army was able to heal during the turn end, which should leave them in a position to come play easy mop-up here. So let us do that mop-up duty. I need a mop and bucket crew to Carrick Asgal, please. Mop and bucket to Carrick Asgal.
My axe thirsts for war.
Okay, so the vampires are down to their last army and settlement there. But yeah, that is going to be a victory. honestly, this is pretty much a campaign victory too, so I'd be loving to hear what you all think in terms of what we should do next. But HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Warhammer 3.